Some of our sisters need a reality check.
Reality check.
Your
You
Prince
are not
Charming.
your type's type.
And Kevin Samuels and the rise of the high value man. This desire to put women in their place.
If you want to talk to me about high value, when are you going to make a video telling men to go back to their children that they've abandoned? Especially whilst you're abandoning your child at the same time. I'm sorry.
And this whole idea of being average, it's actually okay to be average in a system that's actually fundamentally flawed.
There is two things to consider here. There's what I want and what I need to be.
That's good.
Are you willing to live up to what you need to be? It's that simple. Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters around the world.
And in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about why you're average at best. The dating warfare, the ranking system. Girl, let me get through the intro.
Sorry, go on.
The ranking system, the red pill community, and everything in between. I'm really excited for this episode.
I am, average. Yes.
You know, we've been hitting it over the past few episodes, guys. So, you know, we're listening. But before we get into that, classic TMS style, we have a dilemma. That's right. So, hey sisters, I really hope you see this because I don't know what to do. Oh, hold on, sister, we coming for you. SOS. So I tend to have this love-hate relationship with myself. Sometimes I'm content and I know that I'm a work in progress. Other times I just dislike myself and where I'm at in life, from my career to my finances and even my looks. I genuinely don't like me, I think. How can I regain confidence and overcome my low self-esteem? Oh, no, this is a really sad one.
But it's so common.
Yeah, it really is.
I think actually take solace in the fact that you're not the only person who goes through these highs and lows of thinking, yeah, I'm that girl. And then, oh, I need to be left behind.
Not left behind.
But I go through those feelings as well, where one day I'm like, yeah, like I love the way I look. I love who I am. I'm happy. I'm content with where I am. And then the next day you're like, no, I need to be further. I need to do this. I regret these decisions. Or I just hate the way I look. So I think first of all, be comforted by the fact that it's common. Secondly, I think finding stability in your personal security and your self-esteem is I don't want to call it an uphill battle because that sounds, but it's a long journey, right? And it takes constant work, right? Yeah. It's not something that is resolved. I don't think, for me anyway, that there's anything I could say that will particularly solve your issue. Yeah. It's an everyday thing of like refuting the lies you tell yourself that you're not good enough or you don't feel good. And oftentimes the more we repeat these things to ourselves, I'm ugly, I'm, behind all my peers, whatever it may be. Yeah. The more we repeat these things, obviously, the more we believe them. And I think it's important to be active about refuting those lies about yourself and realizing that you really do control your own perception of who you are, right? And the more you tell yourself something is the more that you'll believe it. So on those days, like I really want to challenge you, sis, like on those days where you feel like, you go and you look in the mirror and you're sitting by yourself and you just think, I'm not happy. Get yourself to tell yourself the truth that will make you happy, right? Tell yourself that you are beautiful. But those days when you're feeling good, write all those things down. Yeah. Write all those compliments you tell yourself, all those feelings, those positive feelings you have towards yourself. Write them down and then take that same sheet of paper and remind yourself of it and look at it when you're feeling down, because you're the same person who wrote that down. So that person is still inside of you. Give yourself a pep talk, right? Sometimes we haven't got the strength to do that in this exact moment that we're in, when we're feeling negative, when we're feeling down. But if you listen to the voice of your past self, your same self, you'll be able to realize that actually these feelings do dwell inside of you. If there is something that is particularly like harrowing at you, like, I don't like the way I look, I don't like this about my body, or I don't like this about my career, then change it. And I think a lot of, a lot of controversy can sometimes surround this idea of whether you should accept something or you should actively change it. I think the two should coexist. I can learn to love this part of my body and realize that it's the part of my body for right now. But in the future, it may change, or I may actively change it. And I might work to, first of all, improve my mentality about it and realizing that it doesn't decrease my value, whether it is even a past decision that you made and having regrets or thinking I could have done something better. It doesn't depreciate your value right now, and it also doesn't stop you from making tomorrow better. It doesn't stop you from taking that active step closer to where you actually want to be. So remind yourself you're still a work in progress, and that's good. How about you?
Courtney, I'm about to take some notes and do that for myself. Oh my God, let me just move my bang behind my ear.
Not the bang.
The bang.
You even have braids. I'm so mad at you.
But no, I love what you were saying, especially just about like the distinction between your present and your future, right? Most of us try to power our future by despising our present. And I think that we really do need to sit with the fact that, we're not where we want to be, but we're content with where we are, because that is part of the journey to get to where we need to go. I think because we so hate where we are, it even makes it more difficult for you to get to the future, right? Facts. Whether it be like, let's deal with them individually, right? Your career, despising what you're doing right now is not going to help you to, you know, get to where you want to be or need to be in your career, because you won't be putting as much energy into, you know, what you're doing. If you really start to see like the silver lining, you know, around your career right now, you can start to see it as a building block to where you'd like to go. It's funny because I was even listening to like a YouTube sermon this morning that was talking about the fact that many of us stagnate, not because, you know, we lack vision or because we're not like trying to progress or anything like that, but because we stay and we hate where we currently are, as opposed to loving it and seeing it as like a starting point. So how is where you are right now, how is that going to build your future? Talking about finances as well. If you despise your finances, what does that look like if you change it? And how can you be appreciative of what you have right now? Gratitude, just practicing gratitude is so important, because as crazy as it is, there are some advances that you've made right now, like the fruits of some of the advances that you've made in the past to be where you are right now. In the past are things that you may have prayed for or wished for. So practicing gratitude as to, you know, the things that you currently have. And then even looks wise as well, like love the things that you actually have, because the greatest changes and the greatest strides are made from a place of love as opposed to a place of, you know, hate. So really focus on gratitude, loving yourself. And as Courtney said, it really is a daily thing of like challenging those mindsets. We can't just give you a blueprint and expect it to work. Fix. And there are always going to be days where like you just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like I love what you were saying about some days you'll be like, I'm a baddie. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a me. Have you seen me in the mirror? Wow. There's going to be days where you feel like that, and other days where you feel a bit like, bleh. And that's normal, that's natural. But what it should never do is completely undermine that really, that sense of confidence and that sense of self-worth, that even on the days where you don't like things about yourself, you don't love yourself. You can love in the same way that you can love people and don't like the things that they do or say. You have to afford yourself that same grace and love yourself despite the things that you perceive as flaws, despite the things that you might say are, you know, unlikable about yourself. And that's also good. Really practicing the art of, I guess, congratulating yourself on the small wins, right? A lot of us, in terms of like announcement culture and stuff like that, a lot of us are like, you know, for the big things, like, I got my house, you know, I reached 10K in savings or da-da-da-da. We're looking for the big things to congratulate ourselves on. But when you practice the art of congratulating yourself on the smaller wins, then you really put yourself in a position to really just build your self-esteem. So stop waiting until you reach your, you know, $1,000 or $5,000 saving target. Congratulate yourself on saving £10. In this UK that we live in, to
save 10, you're ahead of a lot of folks. Babe. Listen,
transport just like that. But because you decided to walk today, congratulate yourself.
And that's it. You need to start being happy about the decisions that you make, not just the result of those decisions, right? You need to be congratulating yourself that I made a better decision. I defeated that mindset. That thought came into my mind and I refuted it, right?
Yes.
I rebutted it with the truth. Those are wins. And those are actually, we call them small wins, but those are the big wins because that's where the big wins come from, right? When you start thinking properly about yourself, you get more confidence in your workplace. You get more confidence towards your finances. The journey of 1,000 steps start with what? One. You have to realize that these small things you're going to start doing, those are the things that matter. You don't just end up places. You have to start somewhere.
This is it. And you also need to hang out with yourself outside of your capacity to do things, right? Because even all of these things are things that you can do or things that, you know, you present to the world, right? Your career, your finances, your looks. Hang out with yourself beyond those things, you know? Do things that make you happy, things that fill you with confidence. In the same way that if you're building a relationship with somebody else, it's not just about their career. It's not just about their finances. It's not just about their looks. It's also about them as a person. Do you enjoy spending time with them? Do you like them? So really focus on, you might even need to do up some weird, you know, externalizing yourself. But if you were to build a relationship with yourself in the same way that you would build a relationship with another person, you need to go beyond the cosmetic layers and the results and the characteristics externally and focus on building that actual bond that goes above and beyond all the things that you can do and present and all of that kind of good stuff. But sis, we genuinely send you so much love, and all of the sisters out there that are dealing with low self-esteem, because we do get quite a lot of dilemmas that whilst they may not say precisely that, you know, you're dealing with low self-esteem, underpinning a lot of the dilemmas we get is this whole idea of my confidence and all of that. You're worth it, first of all. You're a person of value intrinsically. There's nothing that you need to do to be a person of value. You're a valued human being. You deserve respect, and genuinely focus on spending more time loving yourself. But yeah, let's stop preaching. Let's start preaching.
I love that.
Because there's a lot of sisters out there that don't like themselves.
Take that snippet and make that your alarm, sis. That was a word.
It's like, it's so mad to even say, I like me, because it seems like such a revolutionary statement.
Yeah, but in the society we're living in right now, it is revolutionary.
It is revolutionary. It is revolutionary.
Yeah.
But yeah, take that little confidence booster, sisters, because we're about to absolutely thrash it in this episode. But moving on from our dilemma and our sweet sister, and moving on to more interesting territories.
I myself, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Miss Courtney.
Hi. Present.
We're currently at war.
Are we?
We are. The YouTube streets.
Let me put on my helmet of salvation.
I was about to say, you gotta hang on tight to something. We're currently at war, it seems.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tension.
Yeah.
Especially as it pertains to desirability, dating, high value men and women. And we've touched on this before in some of our, you know, older episodes. But why are the YouTube streets, in fact, social media in general, why are the streets, the online streets, so thick with tension between men and women as it pertains to desirability?
Because social media is filled with hot takes. It's filled with lack of context. And it's filled with a lot of projections. I was having this conversation with my one of my other friends 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Went out to brunch and she was saying, like, you know, she's actively had to come off of social media because every time she goes onto like Twitter, Clubhouse, all these places, it just seems like everything is on fire. Yeah. Everyone is at war with each other, especially like gender wars. Like the men are saying this, the women are saying this, especially in the territory of relationships. And I think that is so real, right? You can go on the internet, depending on how you've curated your feeds, and think everyone is at war with each other. Men are saying women fall short here. Women are shouting men fall short here. And suddenly it looks like, how is our generation ever going to get married and populate the earth? Because it seems like we all hate each other. Despicable. And then out of nowhere, someone will pop up and be like, men are trash, but I got engaged.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's even how they'll post.
Don't trust women, but I'm Buddha.
Can you imagine?
I'm out of the streets.
I'm out. Hustle hard.
So, and it's just like, oh, so you've ruined everything for the rest of us. And this is one thing I implore you, sisters, as you watch us and as you're a part of this community. Do not let anybody rubbish your mind.
This is it.
Please. It's easy to let the way things appear on social media, and the fact that there seems to be an overrepresentation of the negatives and YouTube wars and bad behavior gets highlighted, and our good sis Aloni will do a thread and you're thinking, yeah, men ain't nothing, and then Kevin Samuels will make a video and women are trash, and then there's this thread on Reddit and it's like, forget dating, forget wooing, forget charm. That's not real life.
No.
And I think it's important to not let that make you think that real love is dead, right? Because the internet is not everything. It really isn't everything. Yeah. It's not an accurate representation of real life. And this is something that we all need to really internalize and understand. There's so much tension online because of views. Yeah. There's so much tension online because of virality. Things need to be controversial in order for wholesome stuff doesn't get reposted. No, who cares about that?
Every once in a while. Give us a like for this love.
No. We want chaos. That's what we want. We are a generation who thrives off of chaos. And not just our generation, but the nature of media is sensationalism. The nature of media, even news, is it needs to be newsworthy. What is newsworthy? Things that are shocking, things that are controversial, things that grab fear, other things that grab attention, right? Things that fear mongering. And I think a lot of us forget that social media is another form of media. The same way the news can exaggerate things, the same way the news can choose to skew things and only present you with one angle, is the same way people are growing their channels. That's the same tactics people are using to grow their following and to grow their brand. And that's just the nature of the game. And I'm not even demonizing it. It's just for us as consumers, as well as creators, to have that in mind and think about how does that affect the relationship we have with our audience, but also how does it affect the relationship we have with the people we consume from, and how are we allowing it to impact our way of thinking. Because a lot of us will see threads and we'll see things and tweets and then go and operate like that in the real world and then be shocked and disappointed when we realize that the real world doesn't operate that way. People will tell you you're crazy, and people will choose not to engage with you. Just because somebody tweeted something, they got thousands of retweets, you go and spout that same opinion to your real life circle of people who actually care about you and people who are not invested in the internet, they will tell you you're getting locked off. It's problematic. It doesn't work. Why? Because the real world isn't about sensationalism. It's about relationship. And if you want to cut off relationship with people, treat it as though you're just trying to have your opinion. You're just trying to make your say and no one can disagree with you. The real world doesn't operate like that. Accept that. So I would say it does appear that there's warfare online. But the war, it's smokes and mirrors. It's smokes and mirrors. You've got to take everything with a massive pinch of salt. How about yourself?
I think you've literally hit the nail on the head there. I think, again, take everything with a pinch of salt. And understand that most people need a journal as opposed to an outlet online. There are some tweets I come across or some like hot takes on YouTube, and I was just like, the reason that was hot was because you needed to journal first.
And you needed... Oh, sorry, no, maybe not, because that's a big gaslighting statement. Some people just need to heal.
No, for sure. No, 100%.
Because we can end up in environments where, because of disappointment, because of fear, because of heartbreak, we create truths out of narrow experience.
This is it.
You were hurt by one person or two people, maybe four people in a row, right? But now that becomes the truth. It's the truth to you, and no one is denying that. I'm not going to deny that you're hurt. I'm not going to deny whether you're a man or a woman. I'm not going to deny that what you saw seemed to be the common trend in your life. Does it make it the common trend in society? Well,
I'm not sure we can hold that position necessarily.
You know, and that's why you got to let people know from what I have experienced, but this is what I am processing through, right? And this is what I'm having to challenge myself in. But I think more specifically to your question, the tension around desirability.
Yes.
I think it's because people don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. The internet is filled with a lot of talkers, no listeners.
I think a lot of people, I mean, we're going to get onto that in a moment, but I think that a lot of folks listen to respond as opposed to listen to understand. It's always the basic things that we fail at. Basic comprehension. And I think sometimes we fail to listen to understand because understanding would mean that we accept that they may be making a point.
And understanding would mean that we were challenged. A lot of us want to stay comfortable.
A lot of us want to be right. A lot of us want to be comfortable. A lot of us don't want to be, made a fool out of. Nope. And unfortunately, because you don't want to be made a fool out of, you're inadvertently made a fool.
Yeah, it's pride.
Pride is killing the people.
Dead. Dead.
Full stop. 6 foot under. Dead. And desirability, I think it's because it's such a touchy subject, right? That's really a cause of pride because everyone wants to be desired.
This is it. And it plays on people's existing insecurities that they don't want to admit that they have, right? If I don't want to admit to you, let me just go deep into it. If a guy tells me I don't like girls that are big, right? I can be like, okay, first of all, there's a flaw in your thinking, but you know what? That's your preference. Your preference may be rooted in things that I disagree with, but I just don't need to engage with you.
Yeah.
But if he says it and I become triggered because it has triggered an insecurity that exists within me, that's when I become on the offensive, right? I'm not going to explain to you. I'm not going to engage in an actual discourse which points out where you may be wrong. I am going to automatically be on the offensive, right? And a lot of us take the stance of, I'm just trying to educate people. No, you're upset. And that's a different standpoint, right? That's a completely different standpoint because then you block your ability to hear because you're in defense mode. You're in offense mode. You're trying to protect yourself. And instead of realizing you don't need to be protected because you don't need to engage in this war. You actually don't at all.
Wow, that was good. I felt that. But on the topic of warfare. And moving on to perhaps one of the head honchos in this warfare.
The general himself.
The Godfather. I already know some of the stanza in the...
And
they're typing.
Let's go.
They're typing as we speak. Go. Hashtag the Godfather. The man with the mic. Kevin Samuels and the rise of the high value man. Talk to me, Miss Courtney.
I don't know what you want me to say. I have a few issues with this man.
What are your thoughts generally on? Because, the fact that this episode is titled You're Average at Best.
Yeah, average at best.
Coupled with this whole rise of the red pill community, which is essentially, communities of men, essentially, their primary audience was for a large part and for a long time men, but has now seen a rise in women. This whole idea of red pill taking the bitter, harsh truth. High value men.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Okay. On a level, we've talked about this a few times. Previous episodes, go and check them out.
Yep.
High value man, feminine energy, and all of that likes. Okay. Let me start off by saying this. Some of the things that are said, I agree with. A lot of the delivery, a lot of the packaging, a lot of the oftentimes plain cut misogyny that exists in these communities and in these rhetorics and conversation, I have a strong issue with, right? And that's why it seems as though, so many women hate Kevin Sam. It's not that we hate him. Because sometimes what he says is right and it's wisdom and it's common sense. But it's not coming from a place of actually... it doesn't seem like you're trying to advance relationships. It seems like, it's political, number one. It's about... And what I've seen in a lot of these red pill communities, it's about men having a certain level of power over women, right? Oftentimes undeserved. Undeserved. I know you've got this rhetoric of I'm a high value man doesn't mean niche. Don't care how much money is in your bank account. A lot of times the emphasis is never on character. And yes, there'll be people who respond to how much money you make and the career that you have.
100.
That's completely fine. But does that make you of value? Maybe to your workplace.
Oh.
But this pride and this ego that men have surrounding, we don't live in that society anymore.
We don't, no.
We don't. The other issue is to say somebody is not valuable intrinsically because they're not your preference is an issue, because you're not somebody's preference. Just because you have a penis doesn't make you preferred, right? The issue here is about power. A lot of people want to have power associated with, I want you, whether you want me or not, I don't care. I deserve you. Because I am of high value, right? That's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
It gives people it's like that rhetoric in Kevin Samuel's playbook, that a high value man has options, and it's about it's a woman, a true woman, would get him and stop him, from exercising those options. What's that got to do with anyone? Stop. I think Adela Fardi has an amazing analysis on Kevin Samuels, which I will just echo. I think it can often be, Kevin Samuels himself can oftentimes be riddled with hypocrisy. Yeah. I think in his, and this is, like I say, it's mainly about power. It's mainly about building brands, rather than actually helping people. Yeah. Because if you're saying, somebody shouldn't cut you are going to cut people off when they speak, but they can't cut you off when you speak. Women have to act like this, but men don't have to be read according to the same rules, because there are fewer of these men that women actually want. Instead of you to challenge men, and I do believe Kevin Samuels, especially in his older stuff, gave it to men 100%, just as hard, 100%. Right? But nowadays, because this whole you're average at best, because telling a woman that she's not that great, she's not that cute, she's not that valuable, that gets more media attention than telling a guy, step up your money. That, let's be honest. Am I lying?
Nope. No,
thank you. A lot of people will say, okay, let me know. A lot of people will get onto these trains of thinking that they're improving men or improving women, right? And as soon as they find something that actually pops off, telling a woman she's average, doing something that creates any sense of virality, they ride that train. Yeah. Because it brings in more money rather than the cause. So even if you try and convince me Kevin Samuels has a desire to improve women and improve the relationship between men and women, you can barely see it, because right now it just seems like he's riding a train of virality. Yeah. I have a problem with that, because is the intention to actually grow community? Is the intention to actually improve people? Or is it just to incite chaos? And sometimes I think it's more about the chaos. Yeah. It's more about the growth. It's more about the attention than it is actually about doing the work, right? And you can say, what's my place to improve that? We are trying to build a community. We are trying to do that work. We encourage our sisters all the time to do that work. And we focus more on our sisters than we do on the men, right? We try to highlight the realities of the world that we are living in. And I see Kevin Samuels doing the exact same thing. This is the reality of the game. If you want to play it, this is how you play. I get that. But what you shouldn't do, in my opinion, is then anchor onto fear, anchor onto insecurities, and use those and play on those as an attempt to get more and more attention. Because why would you listen to, you're not qualified even to give this advice. And this is the issue if we want to put a cherry on top of the cake, my main issue with Kevin Samuels is you are not qualified to give this advice. And you can say, I saw someone else from another channel talking about, who do women think they are to have all of these standards that a man must meet? Who does Kevin Samuels think he is to give women this advice? Is it because you have loads of followers? Because we ain't seen your bank account. And if we looked at your bank account and you deducted the YouTube AdSense from the viral moment, what money would you have? And if you're going to tell me, well, he must have investments, then teach on investments. Do that.
My nape hairs.
Am I like, Renee, you can G-check me at any moment.
My nape hairs.
You can G-check me at any moment, right? But I'm sick of seeing a lot of men and women, right? Shame other people for not having what they have or being what they are, when actually it's those people that made you.
Yes.
I'm a six-figure man. You're a six-figure man because the AdSense check came in.
Wow.
Because you were spouting rubbish.
Wow.
And then you'll come and you'll tell people, this is how you should get more money. This is how you should improve yourself. I don't care. I don't have to help you. You do.
Wow.
Are you going to serve or not? Or are you just going to play this social media game and masquerade it as service?
Thank you guys for listening into this episode. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and keep glowing.
Sorry,
and growing.
That was a lot of rambling.
No. I think you came, saw, delivered, and left, ma'am.
Renee, I'm just tired.
No, I completely hear it, because yes, and yes. There is, I'm gonna start like how you started, right? There are things that are said within that community, headed by the honcho, the godfather, that I agree with.
Yeah.
And the essential framework of being wise, being realistic. If there is a particular kind of man you desire or partner that you desire, there's certain things that they're looking. So the underlying premise makes sense.
It's true.
But the delivery sometimes can be, not even sometimes, a lot of the times can be really, really insidious and masked under this whole idea of being red pill. I'm just giving it to you brash. You're not giving it to me as it is. You're actually being quite rude.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to take it.
And you would, this is the thing. And this whole idea of holding women accountable. I don't know if you're holding women accountable or you're trying to humble women. Because in this whole, I want to humble a woman, it's striking incel. It's reading incel.
Well.
Incel.
Wow.
This whole hatred of women, this whole backhanded compliments, this whole working for me as a man. I think it is. This is the thing. It's a power play. And I think it's very much in response to a lot of the content that we've seen from women over the past few years, where we're seeing a lot of women try and attempt to reclaim power from the patriarchy, right? Perhaps it has in some instances gone to the extreme, but then there's been a resurgence of this red pill idea of putting women in their place. This desire to put women in their place is so malicious. Like, I'm sick and tired of coming across content or hearing women talk about the fact that, I want to be desired by a man. So I'm going to watch some of these, I want to see the men's, I'm going to watch these videos to find out, what do men have to say about this? What do men think? And come across a video that just actively puts them down. It doesn't talk about, things that you can do. I mean, it does in a way, but that's by virtue of them playing on women's insecurities, right? How many times have I come across a video and it's like, you need to be slimmer. Yeah. You need to take it down a peg. Yeah. You're not of value because you've done X, Y, Z. And it's like,
take it as it is.
Just take it as it is, because I'm just telling you the truth. Yeah. And then, oh my God.
Just those glasses, girl.
Then there's this whole insidiousness around women's communities, around single mothers, around, educated, the modern woman as being this woman that's going to die alone with 5 cats because she thinks she's too good for every man.
Facts.
And then
These times, the men saying this, are they married?
Are you high value? According to the videos that you watch.
Are you married?
According to the videos that you actually watch, are you high value?
Are you married? Do you have a successful marriage?
Playing on this whole idea, single mothers begetting single mothers. So where were those single fathers? Where were they?
Because a whole lot of y'all got kids.
And the thing is, being controversial sells. Right? Being on an extreme side of a spectrum sells because it causes backlash. It causes people to become defensive. And once you clock on to the fact that this is actually a ploy to make more money, you step back.
You disengage.
Because I am tired, for every, red pill community video that I see, I am tired of the sisters too. Because remember, this is a women's platform, yeah?
So we're coming for you.
We're coming for you, okay? I am tired of the sisters who, due to their internalized misogyny, always think that they are the outliers, always think that they are, you know, what men desire, always think that they can be the pick me, and are shocked, shocked when they call in and are humbled. Do you know the amount of, it's actually disgraceful. It is a disgrace to open these videos and sis will be, I was watching one video, a Kevin Samuels video, and sis was really trying to be the outlier. She was like, oh, you know, I'm not like, you know, 130 pounds, but you know, it's muscle, you know, it's not that. I work out like six times per week. I'm big boned. You know, I'm just working on myself, and, you know, I'm a single mother, but you know, there was even one who called on behalf of her friends. She was like, you know, I'm a single mother, but I managed to get a high value man, and I was just seeking some advice on behalf of my friends. It is a sickness that you have. Respectfully, it is a sickness that you have. Because if your friends wanted help, they would have called the show. You called the show for validation from men who have no rights giving you validation. You called the show.
That's why she's my best
For
friend.
validation.
Did you hear that? Validation.
And from who? I love the fact that you talked on qualification, because a lot of voices that you see on YouTube, what are they qualified by? What are they qualified by? Because by virtue of you being a man, is that your qualification?
Penis?
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 Just common penis. Because you know penises are common.
Honestly, common
At
penis.
least 50% of the population have a penis.
Penis.
You're coming to tell me that because you have a penis, you can come on this YouTube
and tell me.
Hey.
Honest to God, yeah? What is your qualification for what you're saying? Because there's a whole bunch of theory being flown about. We always let you know we're talking from our personal experiences, right? And we're going to give you advice, but we realize you can do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
What we say here is not doctrine, it's not fact, it's not be all and end all. We can acknowledge when we're wrong.
Hell, we don't even expect you to agree with us at all points.
You don't. That's why the comments are even open. This is not a dictatorship, sweetie. The issue here, though, is what qualifies you to actually give this advice as if it were law, right? You dictate to women how they should behave. You dictate to men how they should behave. And yet you're not in a successful marriage. You've abandoned your children, all in the plight of, well, I made a mistake. And yet you hold people to this standard of not receiving any grace. People cannot fail in front of you. They cannot be on a journey in front of you. And yet you are living in error every single day, and you want to call yourself high value
according to your standards, mind you.
Can you imagine having you're setting the test and marking it at the same time, and yet everybody else's answers are wrong because you keep adjusting the benchmark? Let's talk about the fact that Kevin Samuels and a lot of these men love to hop. I don't want a single mother. That single mother's child has a father who's out there acting single, not a single father. He's acting single. Why? Because he's chosen not to be a father. Oof. At least that mother chose to stay a mother. She may be single because she's been abandoned, or maybe she left, but she's chosen and opted in to still be a mother. A lot of fathers are out here, or men with babies rather, are out here single and not single fathers because they purposefully dropped the father title.
This is it.
They don't want it. They've disassociated themselves with it because of lack of responsibility, right? Instead of to keep those men accountable, when are you going to make a video that says, men, go back to your children? When are they going to make a video like that? If you want to talk to me about high value, when are you going to make a video telling men to go back to the children that they've abandoned? Especially whilst you're abandoning your child at the same time. I'm sorry. And yet you want to call yourselves high value? How many of us grew up without fathers? You want to talk about single mothers, right? I was raised by a single mother, right? My dad was in and out of my life. Love him to pieces. He's my best friend. But a lot of us have a society that blames single mothers when they were the ones who took the brunt of the responsibility.
This is it.
Carrying this dual burden that they were made to carry with somebody else. You want to talk to me about men are stronger than women? Then why did the men leave our mothers to carry a burden by themselves? It's not fair. It's not fair. And yet we look at these women and we blame them for society's downfall, and when they were the ones who chose to stay. They were the ones who broke their backs to put food on in our mouths and clothes on our back, while our fathers were out here repopulating the earth with helter-skelter women. And instead of you to listen to men who actually stayed by their wives and chose to ascend into manhood, not just become a man because they decided to, and write a new playbook that says that this is what a man is. Instead of you to listen to men who chose to evolve into the responsibilities of manhood, you listen to people because they wear a suit, because they work in high corporate America. That's not who we're listening to here. That's not what we're doing anymore. I'm sick and I am tired of a man telling you, I am a man. This is what you should be to be a woman. And yet they neglect the true masculine and male responsibilities of truly living up to what you sign yourself up for. Men will lie, they will cheat, and yet they are told you're a high value man. A woman will slip up once and and not even slip up once. She may keep slipping up, and she'll choose to deal with the repercussions of her actions, and have somebody sit on Instagram and tell her that she is invaluable because she chose to take a choice and take up a responsibility that a man has run away from in cowardice. And yet those people get verified badges and they get millions of people on their platform. I'm sick and I'm tired. Sis, do better. We don't need to listen to them anymore. I'm done. That's the be all and end all. I'm sick of people who have abandoned their children telling you as a single mother that you're unvaluable. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm out.
Sorry, I had to get
No, please. Can
you imagine someone coming talking to your mum and saying she's not of value because she broke her back when she was left alone and abandoned? This is it. Because a lot of these women aren't stupid. They fell for liars. This is it. They fell for cheaters. They fell for thieves, criminals. Shellacked, wearing masquerades of high value. Because the man came up to you in a suit. Bruh. He told you he has a good job. He told you he makes money. How many of our mothers fell for that same thing? I can take care of you. Bow down to me. They did. They committed their lives into the hands of these men that they loved.
This is it.
And yet they were bamboozled and they were left. And then we have a generation of men who will turn around and say it was their fault.
Can you imagine?
Absolutely not. Not on my watch. Absolutely. The women that raised this generation with as much as they could, not in this sisterhood. No. Let me tell you that.
No.
Thank you. Renee, it's your turn.
Courtney, I don't have any. I am speechless.
Sorry, I was shouting in your ears. I promise that when I edit this, I will reduce the volume. You have to decrease the decibels
just a little bit. Wow. That's what I have to say, Courtney. And I have so much happiness and pride in the way that you articulated yourself there.
Sorry, and before someone calls me angry, you're damn straight.
Oh.
I'm angry.
Of course.
I'm enraged.
Why wouldn't you be enraged? Why wouldn't you be angry? And it's just this absence. And the funny thing is, we often talk about women with daddy issues. They've had father issues. They had no father to put them in their place or talk to them or all of that kind of stuff. Why are you not talking to the fathers?
Why
are you not talking to the fathers? Because if you're such a big advocate of this nuclear family, if you're such a big advocate of, rebuilding, that means everybody needs to be accountable. And when you make a child, it's basic biology, anatomy, right? When you make a child, it has to be two people. Two things joined together to make one. All right? Takes two to tango, as they say. So this heat that you have for single mothers, this heat you have for women, this heat that you have for everybody that's not a man, I need that same energy for the men. And I don't want it to be an afterthought as a result of backlash. Because I remember there was a couple videos. Let's talk on looks, right? Because we're about to pivot into looks anyways. Looks wise, there's a specific standard for weight when it comes to women. There's a specific look. You have to look, neat and airbrushed, and you need to, men prefer natural look and all of that stuff. That's cool. But don't address men as an afterthought because you've received backlash from a community of women. Right? There was a video on women and obesity levels and all of that stuff. And it's like, cool, you're making a point about weight, but understand that in those statistics that you're quoting, obesity is a problem in men too. How about we talk about that? Or, you know, if you're talking about, you know, preferring women that are natural and all that kind of stuff, but do you understand that women also have preferences? And the fact that you're shaming women for having standards and preferences and under the rules of accountability, and then as an afterthought to appear balanced, because you know that you're hopping on the virality train, you know that you're trying to blow and get views and all of that kind of stuff, as an afterthought to show that you're a balanced individual. Say, oh yeah, by the way, men, you should do this. Damage control. I don't want to hear it. Leave it at the door. Okay? Leave it at the door and figure out who your community is. Okay? As much as, listen, thinking about our platform, right? This is a community for and by women. We know that there's some brothers that listen in. We know that there's brothers that support us, and we love you dearly. And we hold you guys to account every now and again. And we give you some, you know, tea. But we will never, our content will never be around shaming folks. It will never be around putting down other people in order to spark conversation. And that's the problem with like social media right now. There is no place for measured conversation. There's no place for common sense. At all. It's just mad people with a mic. Mad people with a microphone. Mad. Being fueled by cult followers that don't have the gall or the confidence to say any of these things in real life.
Intelligence to even...
No, wait. Because the thing is, yeah, you will now come and see all of these folks in the comments. Yeah, put her down. Yeah, do this. But you would never say that in person. I beg you to do it.
Go and say it to your mum.
I beg you. This is the thing.
Go and say it to your mum.
Your cousin, your sisters, yeah? Because all of a sudden it's different when we talk about family. You people have this, listen, I love the fact that we're even a sisterhood because we're treating people as though we're related to them.
This is it.
And brothers, we
treat
we treat the brothers, we treat men as if they're our brothers, right? You guys would never have this same smoke.
Ever.
For folks that are related to you.
Ever.
All of a sudden it's different, right?
Ever.
Oh, but she's my sister. I would never give her this advice. But she's my mother. It's different for her. It's not.
At all.
It's not.
Kevin Samuels doesn't care that she's your mom.
She does.
The woman on the Instagram live was somebody's mom, someone's sister.
I would never date a single mother. Single mothers are and yet a single mother produced you. So what now?
So you know why we're pinpointing that? Because the people that grew up in healthy, functional relationships and healthy households, they don't listen to stuff like this. Have you noticed people who are functional?
Yeah.
People who didn't grow up in toxic environments, people who don't have to go to therapy, right? They don't engage in stuff like this. It's like us dysfunctional people are moths to each other. We find each other. It's a madhouse.
It's a madhouse. And then there's the folks who also pretend to be in functional relationships that will also come and comment. I've seen them. They're just like, oh, this makes me so happy that I'm not, I'm the outlier. Listen, outlier mentality will kill the people. Your pretenses towards being an outlier, being above the curve, listen. Being an exponential growth, standing outside of the crowd, it's a lie. Let's have real conversations because I'm so done as well with the folks who think they're holier than thou because they've found a good one or like they've finally found peace, and I'm not negating the fact that you could be in a very functional relationship,
and we love that for
you. But the fact that you've actually come to this content here to actually comment means that you're invested in this, which means that you have some toxic traits you need to deal with. You need to deal with that.
Oh, okay. My goodness.
Okay.
Me.
But
my God.
Yeah, we went to town on that a little bit. But I just think it's so important to really highlight the problems with social media content to the red pill community.
Many problems with it.
Okay? This whole idea, this humbling of women.
Stop it. It's a power play.
Humbling
and a lot
of women.
You may end up arrested because it's going too far. It's going too far. The public disgrace, making people into men and women into public spectacle, is going to do more damage than good. And I think it's also important to highlight where people start things from.
Yeah.
There can be a genuine desire to see people educated, to see people improved, to see people in a community where people are holding each other accountable. But accountability must first come with compassion and proximity.
This is it.
If you're going to keep me accountable, there must be some kind of compassion you have towards me, where you desire to see me better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And also there needs to be a proximity, because you need to make sure that I am living according to what I say. The internet can often neglect you of both because people don't know you. So you can think, oh no, he just cares to see the community improve. What's his proximity to the community?
What's his manifesto, bro?
What's his manifesto, and where's his heart at? Because a lot of people are starting things out of hurt.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been disappointed by someone, and they've made a whole ethos. They've made a whole theory and ideology surrounding their pain, and that's what they're teaching you. And you wonder why you're so angry, because you're carrying someone else's anger. You're being taught, you're being discipled, you're being indoctrinated by somebody else whose seed was pain, was anger, was disappointment. And now you wonder why every time you look at the men in your life, whether they're good or bad, you feel rage because you're carrying someone else's pain.
Wow.
And then we wonder why sis, anyway, you came here to be triggered. It's
come on, give it to us.
You wonder why you're single. You're carrying the negativity. And it's the same way we carry our mother's pains, right? Our mother can tell us, don't trust men. They'll do you dirty. Mom, you need to heal.
Yeah.
Because this is my life now.
This is it.
This is the beginning of a new chapter and a new story. And whilst I carry the successes and the mistakes of my lineage, within me, I will decide whether those traits continue. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You have to make those choices. Yeah. Do not let somebody else's unhealed wounds infect you.
This is it.
This is a lot of us are infected with things that didn't begin with us. And because we don't choose to put a full stop to it, we cover it up with anger. We cover it up with defense. We cover it up with just take me as I am. No. You have so much changing to do. And that's why we precurse this with sometimes the things that people say in these communities, let's even just take it away from Kevin Samuels from a bit, they are true. And sometimes women, we can struggle to swallow these pills, right? Yeah. But the truth of the matter is it needs to be done with love. Yeah. And it needs to be done with true accountability and community. Yeah. So after you watch this video, after you've listened to us, after you've listened to all these other channels, right? Go and find yourself some friends. Go and find yourself some sisters. Go and grab a mentor. Get yourself plugged into a community. Because whilst we can love you, we can't see if you're living up to the things that you're listening to. Please go and find an actual community. These red pill communities, they found a brotherhood in whatever flipping stinky corner of the internet, but it doesn't make them a real community. The same way here on TMS, we are a sisterhood community, but there's only so far we can go with you as an individual. You need to get plugged into, you need to find a sister, sis. And you need to find a sister who's also healing. Because a lot of us will go and meet a woman, men are this, men are that, men heal.
This is it.
We're not talking about the political men are trash statement. We're talking about the personal one that is shacking people in their bones when they go to sleep because somebody broke their heart.
This is it.
Heal. Move on. Grow.
Man, I just know this app. We ain't even that fruit.
This is a deliverance. This is a deliverance.
I felt that. Oh my gosh. Because doing the work only starts here. We can't finish it for you. And as much as other communities and content creators will keep on creating content to have you coming back to them, we want you to get away from us.
We were literally just talking about this, about how we keep getting similar dilemmas and both of our internal frustrations in when will we move from this point? Why do we keep being tripped up by the same things?
This is it.
Because we can consume things because we just want to consume. We want to be entertained. This ain't entertainment. You're going to have to graduate to a new level when you come here. We don't like people staying the same.
This is it.
We don't like cycles.
This is it.
We are curse breakers over here.
This is
you don't know what you're tuning into. This is the beginning of an ended cycle.
This is it.
This is the end.
We're not just here to comment, spectate. We're not just here to gist, although there is that. This is why I fear that this generation really doesn't understand community. And this is something that we're really actively trying to build with TMS, obviously pandemic and But some of the things that you're going to see from us, they're going to be a bit wild and a bit different because we want you to live a real life of happiness, of healing, of joy. We don't want you guys to just listen to us, close the chapter, and then open something else on YouTube or open something else to validate how you feel. We want to challenge you. We want to change you. But most importantly, we want you to live a life filled with real life community. Do you understand? Real life community, because we can only do so much. Anyone online can only do so much. You need to be plugged into real life. This is an aid at best. Yeah, we're talking about average at best, but this is an aid at best. Okay? We want more for you actively. We just want, like, genuinely, we just want women to win in real life, not on social media, not projected fantasies. We want you to win in real life so that you can say, I had, thriving relationships. So you can say that, you loved yourself. So you can say that you're on a journey of self-progression and self-development.
We don't just want to build a platform where we get to show you ours.
This is it.
Because we get to sit here and have these conversations, right? And then we could come and show you, us with our engagement rings, our wedding rings, and the sisters will gas us. And oh my God, our new jobs, our new houses, all of that. We want you to have the exact same victories. Exact same victories. There is profit in keeping a community stagnated.
This is it.
And a lot of people have discovered that.
This is it.
And we can accept it when it comes to colonial empires. We can accept it when it comes to patriarchy. We can accept it when it comes to capitalism.
This is it.
Let's understand it in the digital world too.
This is it.
There is profit in keeping community stagnated. You won't always need us.
This is it.
But you'll always need a sister. Right? Go and find some. Invest in that relationship. Stop listening to these weird old men who are old enough to be your daddies and your granddaddies.
You're missing granddads
whilst they're abandoning their children, disciple and indoctrinate you into living a life which they will not save you from.
Boy.
If you end up single forever, Kevin Samuel's not going to come and marry you. He's not. And if you end up in a relationship with someone whose character stinks, he's not going to come and counsel you.
This is it. This is it. I just know that this episode is definitely going to go over time.
Sorry,
but
and it's the same way.
Girl.
These feminists, and not these feminists because I'm one, but these radical men are trash, burn men 100%. In the gutter. The same way you're listening 100%. To them, they will not come and marry you when you are single.
This is it.
If that's your desire. I'm not shaming anyone who doesn't want to be married or who isn't married. But what I'm saying is, if your desire, as young women, sometimes we, like we were talking about in the Monique situation, sometimes we despise the older generation for emphasizing certain things to us, right?
Yeah.
Why? But they had our best interest in mind.
This is it.
If someone is telling you, girl, you want to get married someday, you may want to put on a little lipstick. You may want to go and buy some new outfits. Why? Because there's compassion, there's love, and there's proximity there.
This is it.
Right?
This is it.
Don't despise advice. Don't despise wisdom and counsel, but inspect who it's coming from. Because the same way we clown aunties, and it's because auntie's husband has 7 wives. That's why you're disqualified from advising me. Sort out your own house. You're concerned about my weight. Auntie, your weight. Your husband's weight. Your son is in prison. Sort out your own house.
Everybody's son in prison. It seems.
They all in jail. Sort out your own house first.
This is it. This is it.
But go and seek counsel and advice from people who, at the very least, at best, right? If we're talking about at best, people who have done successfully what you're trying to do.
Yes.
At the very least, people who are trying to advance to the same place you're trying to get to. But do not listen to people who have done neither.
Niche. Zero. Pulling it a little bit back to, all right, some of the narratives that have, you know, come into creation as a result of all of, you know, this content online, particularly, you know, flagship, your average at best. What are your thoughts on this whole idea of having a ranking system, the existence of average? And being average, is that a bad thing?
First of all, being average is actually not a bad thing.
It's really not.
It's actually not, right? We were talking about this in terms of if there's a ranking system, like from 1 to 10, right? Who would actually be a 10 objectively? And what we've asked several people, right? And what I'm deeping is there will never, ever, ever be an objective ranking. There will never be an objective scale. Calling somebody high value to somebody else, they are bottom of the barrel. You need to understand that there will never be an objective ranking. So you can't let somebody sit there and dictate to you that this is what you are. This is where you fall on the scale. Because to somebody, you're a 2. To someone else, you're a 10. But if we're going to talk about an objective scale, if there ever were to be one, a lot of us are a 2. We sit in the range. If we talk about 1 to 10, we sit in the range. Most of us, of the human population, sit in the range of maybe a 1.5 to a 4 at best. The people hitting up the up theirs, it also depends on what your culture deems as important.
This is it.
If you live in a culture where money is important, wealth is important, materialism is important, what is seen as valuable or what is seen as success, let's just call it success because value is a very problematic word to ascribe to it. What is seen as success is different to another culture that lives maybe more agricultural focused, still has a barter system. And what a lot of our Western worlds have done is then we'll call those places backwards. But a lot of those places have healthy, functional, happy societies.
Talk on it.
The most developed parts of the world,
something ain't
riddled in problems. Riddled in problems.
Bro. Riddled. Infested.
And as much as we call them, oh, they're backwards, oh, they're so oppressive, at least they've got a system that works for them. They've got a system that works for them.
Yep. And
they've got functional, healthy societies. But our society, I love what you emphasized about if you're so passionate about the nuclear family, if you're so passionate about families and communities being whole, why are you not doing the work? Because a lot of us have this, I just want to see society do better. Who's going to do the work?
Boy.
Because oftentimes men are in these scenarios are putting the onus on women to do it on their own. And yet what frustrates me, sorry, this is not answering the question, but we're going to go back to your average at best. What frustrates me is that if you say women are not important, if you say that women are, for all sakes and purposes, weaker than men or less important than men, then why are you trusting these less important, weaker people to fix your entire society? If we're that weak. Then why am I being assigned the biggest task on earth?
I believe that's what they call a scam. You'll find it in a dictionary.
It's called a bamboozling. But more pertinent to the question, to be average on what you have to do, ranking, ratings, it's all about preference. And preferences are all about personal desires.
Listen.
I may not be a 10 on your scale, I may be a 4 on your scale, but on someone else's, I'm a 12. Baby.
Boy, better believe that.
So I'ma just work on becoming a perfect 10 on my scale.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I'm a perfect 10. Don't care what you think I am, because your opinion doesn't matter. I don't even like you. If I liked you, different. And we're going to talk about that. If I like you, it's
precisely.
I don't like you. Sorry.
This is the thing. And I think we also need to understand, as you were saying, that the idea of ranking, even as, I don't know, internal as it seems sometimes, are always based on power. Power.
Go there, sis.
This whole idea of having an objective ranking system that all men and women subscribe to, and you need to get into, your place in the system.
Yeah.
How about no?
I don't play according to your rules.
How about no? And this whole idea, I think it goes back to this idea of desirability. Yeah. Everybody is insecure and everybody wants to be desired by everyone. Yeah. But you can't be desirable to everybody. In fact, that cheapens and worsens your value. Or
you're generic.
You become generic. Okay? Like, you can't be a 10 to everybody. You're a 2 or 1.5. You might even be a 0 to somebody, sis. In the same way that there are folks that are zeros to you, but they're happily married. Happily. Okay?
That's why you see, I'm prettier than her, but she's...
And we do need to understand. I love the fact that you've even said I'm prettier than her, because understand that ranking systems, especially in society, can be different based on your gender, based on your culture. And the prevailing narratives, particularly in the Western world, is this idea of pretty privilege, this idea of conventional attraction. Even that can vary depending on where you are. Precisely. Yeah. It can vary where you are. Being in the West, you know, the slimmer girls. But even the slimmer girls, like, it's always this whole idea of being slim thick. It's just a hybrid of, you know, a hybrid of cultures. Yeah. It's a hybrid. You can't have it all. You can't have your cake and eat it. Yeah. And this whole idea of being average, it's actually okay to be average in a system that's actually fundamentally flawed. People forget that. This isn't the objective system. This is just the power play. This is the structural ramifications of an ideology or multiple ideologies coming into collision with each other and manifesting this ranking system.
That's so perfect.
So yes, you are average, but that doesn't mean that you're not valuable. It doesn't mean that you're pretty. Precisely. It just means according to a flawed system, according to something that's been, you know, I guess forced onto us, you're average. Okay.
At best.
At best.
And that's all right.
At best. And that's actually
fine. We
fine.
average at best. We put ourselves, but on my scale.
On my scale, I'm a 10.
It's a holy hot girl over here.
And there's some period. But moving on to thinking about like standards and requirements and all of that good stuff, the reason why Kevin Samuels in that particular example said to the lady, you're average at best, is because she had all of these, like this long list of things that she would like in her partner. And she herself was, you know, an entrepreneur. She was making, you know, 6 figures, but she was also a single mother. Yeah. And she placed herself relatively highly on the scale, you know, classic Kevin Samuels, you know, this person's an 8, you're not allowed to use 7. And, you know, the whole ma'am, you're average at best. What are your thoughts on women's standards and requirements for men? Are they too high? Are they too low? Where are we going here?
Okay. Whew. I'm so glad we've saved this to this portion, because hopefully all the men have left. Sis, we're just going to spit some real truth. Okay. Okay. I don't think women's standards are too high or too low, because we can't talk about objectivity here, right? There's no objective. Your standards and your list may be longer than someone else's, and it may be filled with loads of stuff. And somebody else may be out here thinking, I just want to get better than my dad. Do you get what I mean? Like, I can't tell you what's too high, too low, right? We also believe in women having standards though. You should set a standard for yourself. Things that people should meet. You should have boundaries. You should have desires. You are fully in your power. And in fact, you should have preferences. My only caveat to this is that list you've written, those desires you have, that person on that paper or that person that you have in the fantasies in your mind also desires something. They also need something. Are you going to live up to that? There is 2 things to consider here. There's what I want and what I need to be.
That's good.
Are you willing to live up to what you need to be? It's that simple. That's good. That's what this whole high value man train is.
This is good.
The man that you have in your mind, the dark, tall, handsome, Prince Charming that you have in your mind, he has a desire. He has a need. Are you willing to fit into that? So as much as we can say, oh, but they shouldn't be dictating to women, this whole take me as I am, absolutely not. Nope. Absolutely not. Because the same way we can't tell you to take any man as he comes, we tell you to inspect men according to their character, to look at whether they are responsible. The same way he should vet you for the same thing. Why? We're building strong families. We're building strong communities over here. So you should live up to that which you expect.
This is it.
So there's what I want and what I need to be.
This is it.
A lot of us don't want to live up to the challenge of what we need to be for what we want.
This is it. This is it.
Let's think about it like this. How many people in the UK or in the USA earn 6 figures, over 100,000. You're already talking about the top, what, 10%?
8-5 even.
How many of them are men who are single? Okay. How many of them are men who are in the age bracket you want to date? Okay. How many of them, let's talk about other undesirable things how many of them are tall? Whittle it down. How many of those tall men are then handsome? Whittle it down. All the things you want. There are very few. And what happens, basic economics, when there's few
supply and demand.
The price up. That's why they call it high value. Up there. The question is, if the price they're asking you to pay is slim,
boy,
submissive,
boy,
and all these other requirements that they have, that's what they're telling you, that few number, not because all of them live up to it, because they surely don't, but that few number that you have in your head, the fantasy you have in your mind, that little number of that population, that's what they require. Are you willing to be what they need? Because they're also picking. You want a man who's financially stable. He didn't get that financially stable by wasting his money on women who were reckless with money. So are you willing to then become financially mature yourself and financially wise yourself? I want a man who can sex me good. Is your sex drive up there? Is it there, sis? Are you willing to please him? Because men with good sex, they like to be pleased.
This is it.
Are you rehearsing? Are you practicing? Have you got classes? I want a man who can buy us a house and who can keep our finances. He can't buy you a house and be married to you if you have bad credit. Are you willing to be what he needs? Are you willing to be what he needs? I want a man who will work and also take care of our kids with me, which means you can't survive on his income alone unless he's doing, I don't know, he's working as a brain surgeon, neuroscientist in space.
Or he's a drug dealer.
So are you going to be willing to work as well? You've got to think, the person I want, am I willing to be what they need? It's simple. I can't tell you if your standards are too high or too low. All I'm saying is wherever they sit, sis, you better be willing to meet it. How about you?
Courtney, the flames, the fire that you've been spitting this episode.
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
My God.
Oh gosh.
My God. But I'm
waiting to hear what you guys to say.
I think there's a lot of similar sentiment, if not exactly the same thing. Some of our sisters need a reality check.
Reality check.
Your Prince Charming.
Your type's type.
And you know what? Right, sis, this is not us just saying that you've been sitting around doing this and, you know, he's not going to walk into your life because you're poor, you're pauper. I think we do the holistic, you know, society. Yeah. And I think for a lot of women, we've been fooled into thinking that we are the full package. Like, because we are, you know, that whole rhetoric around like, yeah, women mentally, they're older than men.
Right.
You know, because I'm a woman, especially the modern, you know, the typecast of the modern woman who's gone out, she's got her degree, she's super educated, she's getting all of these things for herself and all of that good stuff. We assume by virtue of a lot of the narratives that we're told that the men that we want should want us.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you ask the man that you want if he wanted you? Because let me even talk about that. A couple of you man are still single because you don't have enough vim to go and ask the man that you actually like out. Because you're afraid of rejection as well. You're not even putting yourself in proximity to be around any of the men that you're desiring. When was your last date? 4 years ago? And this is not to shame anyone. If you want to be single, that's cool. But specifically for the sisters out there that are saying, I want to be married. I want to have my eggs cracked. I want to do da-da-da. I want my last name dropped.
I'm trying to get married ASAP.
Last name dropped. I'm trying to be married ASAP. I want my ring.
Yeah. What have you done?
What have you done? Relationships and the things that you want require work. You won't be gifted a man. Okay? As much as some of us hate to hear it, you will have to work. And this is not to negate the fact that, you've heard us. We hold men accountable.
Yeah.
But we also equally, if not more so, because we're sisters here, we hold women to account too.
More so.
And as a woman, You're a gift in life. You're a gift in, you know,
100%.
whatnot. But you will not be gifted a man.
At all.
And you will not be gifted the perfect relationship.
Yeah.
You will need to work on relationship.
Because a lot of us can't keep up with the men we want.
Think about even your friends, yeah? Courtney, I love Courtney to death. But we've had to work for our relationship. We work on it. Actively.
Facts.
Don't think that you can enter into a relationship and expect someone to take you just as you are. Fundamentally, yes, in terms of your characteristics, your traits. But in terms of other things, listen, this is not a question of just conformity. We're not forcing you to conform to it. We're imploring you to compromise. Consider and compromise. Consider and
if you don't want to compromise, sis, we hear you. But become that which is up there.
This is it.
Ascend, level up.
And find out, not just through social media echo chambers, the high value man that you're looking for. Figure out what they do, what they like, where they go to in real life. Because you're not going to marry one from social media.
Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of high value men. For example, corporate America or corporate, high flyers, and you know what I mean? Like
whatever they want to call it.
They're not sitting on YouTube, are they?
They're not.
Where are they?
They're not.
Just ask yourself, where are they? And go there. Dress appropriately.
Date them.
Act appropriately. And date them. Open yourself up to what you want. But this whole Cinderella complex that I will come and I will be found in the state that I am in and he'll want me just as I am. It doesn't work like that anymore, baby.
No.
It does not. Man. The world has changed.
Man.
Disney is not real.
Man.
Okay?
It's not real.
It's not real.
And it's not that you should completely change yourself in order to fit somebody else's what they specify. But do understand that if that is the kind of man that you're looking for, as Courtney said, he's done work to get there.
Yes.
Do you get? Making 6 figures a year is not easy.
It's not a small thing.
It's not easy. Small. It's not easy. So if he's got certain preferences and certain standards, then okay. I think the mismatch comes when we have, men that are average as well as women that are average, that are both looking for above average folks without doing the work. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
I love that.
Maybe y'all can find each other and we'd have a lot more happy families.
Yes. And this is the thing, right? It's this fear to also date what would be considered average and seeing that as settling.
I'm not gonna settle.
Actually, you would probably be challenged by the people that you consider average. And this is not to say date someone you're not attracted to, not at all. Yeah. What we're saying is, are you your type's type?
This is it.
Are you're this romanticized Prince Charming you have in your head?
And how do you know? Because you speak to one.
And also, are you actually ready to live that life?
Yeah.
Not just be I want to date a rapper. It comes with a certain life.
Bro.
I want to date an entertainer. It comes with a certain life and a certain culture. I want to date somebody who has their own business and their own startup. Are you ready to sit with them through all hours in the morning designing a pitch deck? Bro. Are you if you're not going to sit with them, are you ready to be in an empty bed for a long time and trust them and still build intimacy with them in a different... Are you ready to live with the reality that will come with the idea you have in your head? Because this and real life don't always compute together. You think you want something, then you end up in it and you realize, I'm not made for this. I'm not made for this long distance. I'm not made for you going to all those conferences. I'm not made for you telling me, babe, for example, Christian girls do it all the time. I want a man who's so fearing of God and so into his religion. Are you ready to deal with the fact he's going to pray all the time?
At all hours of the night, mind you.
He's going to wake you up and say, babe, we've got to pray. Warfare. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the reality of the idea that is in your head and what you say you want? That's all we're saying. You don't have to lower your standards, but achieve them. Prepare yourself for them.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And also understand where some of your preferences are coming from. Ooh. Where? Okay. Thanks. And be willing to compromise on the ones that make sense, right? Because we know there's going to be folks that'll be like, the bar for men is in hell. We hear it.
We hear
some of it is even in the pits. The last
Lucifer's actual house.
His den. His den. Some of it is in his den. Okay. But there are certain preferences, not standards, preferences that you can compromise on. Yeah. So sis, realistically speaking, the height one,
you've got a point.
If the average height for a man is around 5'9", 5'10", sis.
Yeah. And don't take this independent of everything. Don't take this out of context. If you find a man that loves you, treats you right, respects you, is going to be an amazing father to your kids.
This is it.
Who you feel safe with.
This is it.
Who you trust. And he comes down a couple inches, you really going to pass that up? You're really going to pass that up.
And the thing is, oftentimes, some of the folks that we romanticize and idealize, when you actually meet them, you don't like them.
Ain't all that.
Because they're a problem.
Fact. Oh, facts. Facts. Because that generic man you find sexy, the rest of the population find him sexy too.
He be out here wilding up and down. But you think he's going to be faithful to you.
And because I was about to say, that sounds very Kevin Samuel-ish what we just said.
Yeah.
Because, high value men are going to cheat. No, but have you inspected his character to see whether he wants you and whether he's true to the words he says when he says, I want you, right? Because a lot of us, you're so in love with this person.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they're really in love with you.
Boy, oh boy.
Make sure that they're telling the truth when they say, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to respect you, I will not disgrace you in the street.
Yeah. Courtney, this is one of my biggest fears.
I'm scared of it too, sis.
Men.
Don't embarrass me outside.
Don't.
If you embarrass me outside, I'll flip.
Because the thing is, it used to be just, the town square. Now it's the global population of the internet.
The internet.
They want to disgrace me
your business. Look at Danae Jackson. Let's just wrap up this episode.
It is well. That was a hot one. Guys, thank you for listening in. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation. What are your thoughts? We always really want to know what you have to say, especially with a topic as hot like this one. Are you average? At best, is there such a thing as averageness? What are your thoughts on the whole red pill community? Let us know in the comments below if you're watching us on YouTube, or you can always at us on Instagram. Instagram community be popping off and whatnot. At To My Sisterhood, and of course you can come and say hi to us personally at CD Bartang and at Renee Kapuku.
Yes, or if you want to go and drum up a conversation over on Twitter, it's the same handle at To My Sisterhood, or you can just hashtag To My Sisters if you want to say stuff about us and us not see, it's fine. But of course, if you haven't already, sis, please join the mailing list. We're going to tell you every single week till you do it. Why? Because we love you. So go and get some exclusive glow and grow tips over on our weekly mailing list, where we send you everything you need to just level up, glow up, and just to be better. Sincerely, sister, we love you. We love you. And to all the guys who watched and are all the way here, we love you too. And we want to see better for our communities. We want to see better for sisterhood, brotherhood. And we want all of them to get married and have nice babies and just create a healthy generation of people. So we will talk to you soon. Okay? Subscribe.
Oh, you better subscribe.
Turn on your notifications.
I know that's right.
Because we're going to come back with a very hot topic.
Yes.
But for now, as always, keep glowing and keep growing.